and we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You idiot. If that man gets in, as soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the world. You will bow down. He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Joe Biden has absolutely nothing to run on. He cannot run on the economy. He cannot run on the border. He cannot run on the safety and security of Americans with the lawlessness happening in our streets. The economy is crushing people. They can't afford to buy groceries. They can't afford to buy gas. It is a time of absolute misery. And as George Snuffleupagus and his cohort James Carville once said many eons ago, it's the economy, stupid. So what does Biden try to do? Flip the script, change the narrative. He wants something else to talk about, anything. And about the only issue that he thinks he can win on, abortion. And Donald Trump released a statement regarding abortion. There was really nothing the libloons could do with it other than lie about it, which is what Joe Biden did, saying that Donald Trump is lying. Camilla thinks she's a hottie Harris, said that Donald Trump is lying, and as soon as he is sworn into office, if the Republicans put a national ban on abortion bill on his desk, he'll sign it immediately, stripping women everywhere of their rights, their freedoms, etc., etc., etc. But the real problem came from the quasi-conservatives, those neocons who all of a sudden decided it was time to get on their white horse and be holier than thou and chastise Donald Trump for changing and yanking the rug out from underneath his own movement. Oh, really? Let's take a look at that.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth!
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. This is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That'll give you notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing the link to this video on your social media platforms. That's how we let everybody know that we're here. Thank you for being a part of the Afternoon Drive. Let me begin with an old warning that I used to issue on my radio show. Quote, I don't care if what I'm about to say makes you mad, as long as it makes you think. Because right now, I want to talk to everyone in the pro-life movement. Listen, and listen well. So President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, and he issued about a 4-minute statement regarding his position on abortion and what he feels that the national position for the Republican Party in this 2024 cycle needs to be. And it's pretty much this. It's a states' rights issue. That the overturning of Roe versus Wade, which basically mandated that all states must provide abortion, that was bad law. It was bad law because it wasn't law at all. It was never decided by Congress. It was never actually passed into law. It was jurists, the Supreme Court, who over 50 years ago decreed from the bench that it was the law of the land. It was not based on any actual law. Now, the truth is, there have been proposed laws within Congress to, quote unquote, codify Roe versus Wade to make abortion the law of the land. It's never been brought up for a vote. It's just never happened. Why? Because Democrats love to have this issue to run on. But they themselves don't actually have what it takes to bring it to the floor and actually make it happen. Never have, never did. What Donald Trump and his Supreme Court appointments were able to achieve was exactly what the pro-life movement has been wanting for 50 years, which is to kick this back to the states, a states' rights issues, so that there can be a national debate on it, and that through the national debate, a general consensus would be formed, and the laws would then reflect that, which is exactly what happened when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. But then you had people like Lindsey Graham and other just absolute, zealots on this issue grabbed a hold of it and began clamoring for a national ban on abortion. And that cost us the 22 midterms. It absolutely did. What Donald Trump was saying was, what you people have asked for 50 years, we gave you. It's been kicked back to the states, which means the blue states are going to have pretty wide open, unrestricted abortion. And the red states, some of them are going to have maybe an outright abortion ban, or others are going to really regulate these abortion facilities. But nonetheless, it becomes a states' rights issue. And that's what Donald Trump said. And then he invoked Ronald Reagan, said, I have the same position on abortion that Ronald Reagan had, that there needs to be a provision that an abortion can be had legally in the cases of rape, incest, and the life of the mother. And Mike Pence, of all people, to come out and say that the president has sold out the MAGA movement. That the last person in this world I ever wanted to be lectured to about ethics is a guy named Mike Pence, the absolute traitor within. He is an absolutely vile, reprehensible human being who is doing everything he can to try to rewrite history and try to disown the fact that he was at one time part of the Trump administration. I told you a year into Donald Trump's first year in office, he was the enemy within. I have been proven right. And when he says that, I constitutionally, I couldn't do what Donald Trump was asking me to do that fateful day on January 20th. Yeah, you could, because it happened for President Richard Nixon. It's absolutely happened before. And by the way, it isn't anything that the Democrats don't ask for every time they lose a national election, that certain states not ratify their election results and there were shenanigans and we need to look into it. Does hanging chads in Florida ring true with anybody? That all said, Donald Trump didn't sell us out. He gave a path forward, and I want you pro-lifers, listen to me. I am extremely pro-life. I have been in charge as a director of 2 different pro-life ministries in 2 different states. Now, we were not involved politically. I will state that right up front. We didn't go petition our state legislative bodies. We didn't stand out front of abortion clinics and stick aborted fetuses in women's faces or dress up like the Grim Reaper and call the women's going inside murderesses. We did not do that. What we did do was provide counseling for women in crisis pregnancy to be able to make a decision that was not just, quote, abortion only. And by the way, when they go in Planned Parenthood, that is the only counsel they are given. They are not pointed toward adoption or carrying the child full term. Now, again, in our ministries that we had where we worked with counseling of the women, The idea was this: if we save the mother, we automatically save the baby. You hear what I said? Most of these girls, they're scared. They don't know what to do, and they don't necessarily have the family support or the resources to be able to care for this child, and they think the most humane thing they can do in their moment of fear is terminate. We come alongside them. We made sure they had all of the medical help they needed through every stage of the pregnancy. And even once the child was born, if they wanted to put the child up for adoption, we had adoption agencies ready to handle that, ready to take care of that. If they decided they were going to keep and raise the child on their own, we provided everything from free babysitting and daycare services so that they could go to school and earn a degree and better themselves so they'd be better able to provide for their child. We provided meals. We provided clothes. We provided the things that they would need for a baby, everything from cribs to diapers to formula. We were with them through the whole process. So I'm very committed to pro-life. However, I do understand that on the political side of things, the vast majority of the American people do believe that there ought to be some type of legal access to abortion. That is the vast majority, the will of the people. You say, I don't like that, and that's not where my Christian conviction. Well, then fine, don't you ever have an abortion. And pastors, you need to stand up in your pulpits and you need to teach why abortion is wrong. But as far as the nation goes, the will of the people does not support a national ban. But the will of the people is not for infanticide either, abortion right up to the moment of birth and even beyond. And when news reports were coming out explaining where Donald Trump's position was, they fact-checked him and said that he was erroneously claiming that Democrats want to kill children as they're being born.
Polls show the majority of Americans support access to abortion. Trump is effectively endorsing a patchwork of state bans and laws that have emerged since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. In his statement, Trump did take credit for overturning Roe v. Wade. He also falsely claimed Democrats support executions of newborns.
Well, newsflash, Daddy-O, that is exactly the position of Democrats.
Republican Ben Sasse blasts Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia for supporting a bill in his state that would have allowed abortion up until and during birth. Sasse noted it's the biggest debate in the country over the last couple of days. But yesterday, Democrats claimed they hadn't heard Governor Northam's comments.
I'm sorry, I just don't know what he said yesterday.
Here's what Virginia's governor did say.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
In fact, that actually cost Governor Northam his re-election. It cost him the state of Virginia because of his stance on post-birth abortion. And then, of course, remember, he was refusing to give parents rights over the education of their children. So the parents in Virginia, even the liberal ones, began to put two and two together. Kill children right after they've come out of the womb, and then not let parents have any authority over the education of their children who are in a school. This guy's got to go. It's exactly what happened in Virginia. But abortion up to the moment of birth is the law in places like California. Hollywood came out in mass support of this. Alyssa Milano did podcasts that this is needed. Even the state of New York under Andrew Cuomo put this into law.
At 11, Governor Cuomo signing into law one of the nation's strongest protections for abortion rights.
Just after the Democratic-held Senate and Assembly passed the bill on the 46th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. The governor holding a signing ceremony earlier tonight in Albany.
On the 46th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion nationwide, state lawmakers in New York approved a law permitting abortion in the state for any reason until the 24th week of pregnancy and then up until birth to protect, quote, the life and health of the mother.
Well, you know now, Pastor Marty, maybe we do need to stop and consider the life and the well-being of the mother there, that right as she's giving birth, it could kill her.
You understand anything about what's going on with medical science and procedures today? But let's take that 0.00000000001% chance that might happen to the side. Let me tell you, because of the vague way they word all these, they're giving doctors basically license that if at any point, as the woman is going to give, you know what? I know I'm in labor, but all of a sudden just panic attack. I'm not ready to be a mother. I don't want this child. Okay. She gives birth, finds out, it's going to be a dwarf person. Look at the eyes. It might be learning disabled. It's got an infirmity. It's disabled. Well, let's end it. And you heard what Northam said. We'll keep the child comfortable while the doctor and the mother make a decision of infanticide. And Donald Trump is right. The country is not there. I was part of a pro-life ministry in the state of Ohio. And I explained to them then, as they were spending money to pay this one guy an exorbitant salary to crisscross the state to campaign on behalf of the legislation which Ohio lost on, the pro-life movement lost on, because now even in the state of Ohio, you can have an abortion right up to the moment of birth. And so first of all, you're going around to these groups and you're only talking to 10 or 15 people at a time, and most of the time you're just preaching to the choir. How about you spend some real money on some advertising and grip people? That's what the Democrats do. The Democrats show these stories of these teenage girls that have been raped, or these problems that they have, or the mother that's literally dying as she's giving childbirth. Can't we save the mother? I said, why don't we show what a post-birth abortion would really be about? Young couple. I'm so in love with Tommy and I can't wait to have his child. And 6 months into the pregnancy, Tommy dumps her for her best friend. And now all of a sudden, she's decided, last thing in the world I want is his child. Donald Trump took an issue that the Democrats will try to use to keep him and every other conservative from being elected. And some of you pro-life people are going to have to understand we can't have any type of effect on the society or the culture if we can't get elected. One of the ministry I was involved with in Ohio, we had our annual fundraising event, and some people didn't like the speaker that came and basically said, hey, look, I think you're going to have to accept the fact that what we're going to end up with is a national law that says abortion can happen up to 15 weeks, then is a cutoff, unless, and he says that's to be very narrowly worded, if the life of the mother is in danger, and it has to describe the physical life of the mother, not her emotional well-being, that as she's giving birth, she just decides, oh, this is going to be such a trauma for me to be tied down and I won't be able to do all the things that I want to do because now I got this child to take care of. I don't want it. Well, for her mental well-being, we better terminate. As the child was drawing its first breath and crying. The child has rights. So Donald Trump took a very polarizing issue and he nuanced it beautifully. So I don't want to hear from Mike Pence and the other faux pas, fake conservatives about their commitment to the pro-life movement. Because what they're doing, and they talk that way, it fuels up all the extreme libloons who right now are disenchanted and don't want to be a part of this political process because they don't like Joe Biden because on certain things he's not extreme enough for them, and it rallies them and out to the polls they go. And these people that are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, like this actress, she's on the TV show Blackish, and she's been in a few movies. I can't remember her name. She's in her 60s, but she recently went on a podcast and said this.
And we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You idiot. If that man gets in, as soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the f***ing world. You will bow down. He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do know exactly what mental illness looks like. Like every time you look in the mirror and the reflection staring back at you, you know exactly what mental illness looks like. Did you hear what she said?
The generals will march down the stairs, and they will go, and they will break the glass, and they will rip up the Constitution.
No, Joe Biden already did that. Stripped you of your rights, your bodily autonomy under a thing called, Rovid mandates. And all those Democratic governors that got a sense of unbridled, unchecked, total power. Oh, they want it back. Oh, do they want it back? The existential threat to democracy is not Donald Trump. It is Joe Biden and the Democrats. And I would remind Lindsey Graham and other neocons, this nation cannot endure 4 more years of Joe Biden. And when you come out against President Trump, you fuel up the Trump derangement syndrome of the left.